After a super first test between England and Pakistan, it's time to look into the first test between West Indies and India. Hello everyone, I'm Shruti Chopra, your tarot reader, and with me is our cricket analyst, Suneer Chowdhary. Hey, what's up?
Hi Shruti, how are you doing?
I'm doing super. I'm enjoying the Mumbai monsoons.
Great, send some over to Chandigarh as well, Shruti.
I will, let me know when they arrive. Now, much to look forward to then in this series, and more so from the Indian perspective.
Well, yes, a lot to look out for, but most importantly, it's the return of Test cricket for India after their last series against South Africa came in November 2015. So that's about 8 months. Secondly, this will also be the beginning of a longish run for Virat Kohli's captaincy in Test match cricket, because we know that India is playing a lot of Test matches after this at home, leading up to March, I think, next year when Australia visit India, and then there's a Bangladesh series as well. What it also does is it marks the start of Anil Kumble's career as an Indian coach. So a lot of things happening from an Indian perspective, and that is why it's always exciting to look at.
Oh, yes, it is. But before we get into more details about India, I wanted to ask you about West Indies. They had a selection controversy coming into the series. What do you make of their chances?
In some ways, I wonder if West Indian cricket in this day and age, and more so their team, is taking up the not so desirable mantle of being one of the more controversial teams in the world today. We had a few incidents after they won the World T20 as well, and now there was a series of tweets from Dinesh Ramdeen, who took on the current selector Courtney Brown for his non-selection. So that's something to watch out for from the West Indies. Seem to be in that kind of a mode, but that aside, West Indies aren't going to make it too easy for India. They won't be pushovers in their own backyard, as the results in recent time have shown. Even in the ODI series against South Africa and Australia last month, they did well. They made it to the final when South Africa and Australia were favourites to get there. And I trust them to give India a real run for their money in the series.
Gosh, that seems interesting. Now, but what are their players to watch out for?
There are a few of them. Captain Jason Holt, Marlon Samuels. You have a couple of the openers who would want to do well. But I want to have a look at how Carlos Brathwaite does in this series. A lot has been made about Brathwaite's power-packed hitting in the shorter format of the game. But it must be remembered that he first came into international light with it showing on the tour of Australia last year. He showed he could bat in the first two gears as well as he can bat in the fifth gear. And we've seen the fifth gear batting in the World T20 and during the IPL on occasions. But his real test comes now. His real test comes against the quality spin bowling that India have in their lineup. On to you now, Shruti. How will the possible 5 days unfold for West Indies? What do the cards say?
Tarot leads me to believe that West Indies don't feel settled enough going into the opening test of this series, despite them having managed to select the right balance of players who will display great skill and command in this match. Yet, they may struggle to maintain enough consistency to garner results quick enough. Their batting in the first innings should see them fighting some tough bowling. They will work hard and apply themselves, but this may only weather an initial storm. It could actually be the beginning of more struggles ahead. Now, on the other hand, their bowlers will bowl well. They will manage to stick to a plan and make it an intriguing battle to watch.
Well, that was first innings, I'm assuming, from West Indies. Yes. What do the second innings look like?
In the second innings, the batsmen will start off quite patiently. Their stubbornness could just annoy the Indian bowlers, probably annoy me as well, leading them to err in line and length. This tactic may just work for them, but continuing like this could throw them into a rut. Strangely, their bowlers may not do so well as they did in the first innings, making it easier for India. Now, speaking of India, what do you make of the Indian team for the first test?
Well, by the looks of a report on ESPNcricinfo.com, the Indian squad has been narrowed down to 13 players. And assuming that that is the case, and assuming we are looking at very slow surfaces, and that has been made out in the media as well by a lot of players, not too much help for the spinners. And with Kohli expected to play 5 bowlers anyway, given that's what his strategy has been in Test match cricket, it will be very interesting to see if the management plays Stuart Binney ahead of one of the spinners, with Ravichandran Ashwin expected to lead the Indian spin bowling attack, and Ravindra Jadeja having picked up 23 wickets in India's home series against South Africa. this looks like a direct toss-up between Binny and Amit Mishra for the fifth bowler spot.
And what about Shikhar Dhawan's chances of making the 11?
Look, I think I like Shikhar Dhawan's batting when he is in full flow. He scored a century on debut against Australia. So we know what he can do. But I also think that he has hit a bit of a rough patch across formats, not only in Test match cricket, and more so on pitches which aren't very easy to bat on. On flat tracks, he does look good. But on tracks like these, where the ball doesn't come onto the bat or it's swinging and seaming, Dhawan has shown a few vulnerabilities. Tough call for me, but I will play KL Rahul ahead of Dhawan simply because of the confidence that Rahul has exuded over the last few months, including in test matches. Look, often there are calls to drop cricketers when they're not in form, but without a discussion on whether there is any quality to replace them. In this case, Rahul seems to have that kind of pedigree. How do you see India performing, Shruti?
Well, the initial impression I get is that India will be mighty positive, happy, aggressive. They're looking to enjoy this first test match, but India may need to be careful of getting a little too lost in the joy of playing and overlooking some important practical strategies. The first signs of this could be seen in their first innings batting, in which the openers may give them a steady start, but the middle order may decide upon a riskier style of play. Certainly not needed for sure. After an initial phase of experimentation, bowling should be more controlled and quite effective, and fielding shouldn't be much of a problem. India's second innings should have a good beginning and end, but again, the middle order really needs to calm down a bit. They'll certainly be tempted by the West Indies bowling, but it's still a test match, and sensibility must be adopted. The same goes for the bowlers. There may just be a lack of focus and aggression, but they should have this figured out towards the latter end. Now, Suneer, who will it be for you? Your pick?
3 of the 4 test matches played at this ground in Antigua have ended in draws. There's one result in favor of West Indies when they beat New Zealand by 9 wickets. But I think we might be looking at another such result, given there has been all that talk about the pitch being a slow one and how difficult it is for teams to be picking up 20 wickets in the match. Do you think it will be a draw too, Shruti?
Well, it may seem like it's heading in that direction, but Taro does show a win for the team that should be more consistent. And quite frankly, that's India. So I'll go with India.
So, well, that's how the cookie could crumble in the first test match between West Indies and India. It starts on 21st of July. We can only hope it can match the intensity and excitement levels of the Lord's test match between England and Pakistan. Well, that's it from Shruti and me. Be right back for our next one very soon. I think we'll be previewing the England-Pakistan second test match. But till such time, do subscribe to our channel by clicking on the button on your screens and follow us on Twitter as well. The IDs are mentioned in the description below. Bye-bye.